Alright, so yesterday we did binary ionic, which just meant elements in the compound, and you just look up their charge. Or on your little square, whichever way. Today we're going to do ternary ionic. Remember, ternary ionic means that it's going to have a polyatomic ion in it. The difference is easy to tell because you can tell right away that ends in 8. They won't end in IDE. So they will end in or ITE. Makes no difference. The process is still the same. I'm just going to split this in half, and I'm going to look up the sodium. If I look it up on here, or you go by the charges and what group number it's in, sodium is Na with a 1 plus. And then sulfate, which is one of the polyatomic ions, will be in this long list of anions. I just have to keep until I find it. And there's sulfate. So I just go over and I write exact there. SO4 with a 2 negative charge. Ternary. It has more than 2 elements in the compound. It doesn't matter, you still do it the same way. So in order to do this, we just crisp. The 2 is going to go 2, and the 1 is going to go there, so SO4. And it's really that simple, unless there's something else that you have to do added onto it, like possibly the next one. So I'm going to go on to the next one. The next one is actually the hardest that they could possibly be. So if you can do this next one, you can do any of them. Right, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to look up the 2 ions, the first 4. Tin is going to be in this list. Here's tin 4, SN with a 4 plus charge. And then I look up the second one, which is carbonate, in the second list. CO3 with a 2 negative charge. I do the same thing, just crisscross the ions. So the 2 is going to go there, SN2, and the 4 there. Now it's a little bit of a problem because you might not be sure what to do with that 4, but it's actually easier than you might think. I want that 4 to go there, but there's already a bunch of stuff there. I'll just put that stuff in parentheses, then put the 4. The first one I didn't have to do that because I wasn't putting a number there. If you look back at I was going to put a 1 there. So since I wasn't really going to put anything there, I didn't even have to think about parentheses, but on this one I do. And this one I'm going to put a number, but there's already, so I have to put it in parentheses. So what extra steps need to be performed? You would say parentheses. And then you do have one other step to do because this ended up being a 2 and a 4 here. These 2 things can be reduced. And 4, I can divide them both by 2, so I would make that SN CO2. If you can reduce it, you have to reduce it. So that should be my final formula, SnCO3 parentheses. So another additional step here would be that you have to reduce. Right. And so, like I said, if this one of them, they're usually a little bit easier, but this one had a Roman numeral, you had to use parentheses, and you had to reduce it. So if you can do that one, you can do any of these. The first thing that you have there, it's binary or ternary. So remember, when you're looking at them, if they end in IDE or if it's just 2 elements, you can just write a B next to them if they're binary and a T next to them if they're ternary. And then you're going to have to do the charges and the formula. So some of these are like we did yesterday and some are new.